Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at how to calculate summary statistics using the Microsoft Excel app on an iPad. Now the first thing we need to do after we open the Excel app is to open a blank workbook. Now this is where you can enter your data and then calculate the mean, median, mode and range using the Excel app. To get started, all you need to do is double click on one of these cells, the keyboard will pop up and you can start entering your data. Now I have already pre-filled a workbook with some data that we can use for calculations. So the very first thing we can start calculating is the mean. Now if we remember, the mean of a set of data is the average. Now what we usually do is we add up all of our values and divide by the number of values that we have. Now if we have a large set of data, that could take a very long time to do. So Excel can do this for us automatically. All we have to do is enter in the formula. Now anytime we enter a formula into Excel, we double click on a cell and we start with the equal sign. To calculate the mean, we're actually calculating the average. So the formula we write down is equals average. And when you start typing this in, you'll notice a little drop down tab, and all we need to do is click on that first option, average, and you'll see average number 1, number 2, ... What we need to do now is scroll up to our data. We'll calculate the boys first. So we click on the first value for the boys, and you'll notice a blue box with some dotted lines appear. What we need to do now is drag the bottom corner of that box down until it selects all of the data for the boys. Now what we do is we click our green tick in the top right here, and it's automatically calculated the mean for the boys, which is 167. We do the exact same thing for the girls. So we click equals average, we click on average, we scroll up to select our first girl value and drag that box down until it selects all of the values for the girls, and then click the green tick to calculate the mean for girls. Now what we'll notice with this value is that we have a bunch of decimal places, 165.1667. Now for this example, let's say we only want one decimal place. Now instead of rounding that off yourself, if we click on the ABC123 button at the top, we can use Excel to round that for us. At the very top of the number format tab, we have increase decimal or decrease decimal. And what we want to do is decrease the number of decimal places. So if we click decrease decimal, you'll notice our number at the bottom here is getting smaller, and we're left now with 165.2. So that's how you calculate the mean. We use the formula equals average, and you can see that formula at the top in this FX tab. Now you may have noticed that when we entered our mean values, the numbers aren't centered like the table above, so what we can do is highlight our new table and center all of the cells. So click on the alignment tab, click center, and then all of the cells will be formatted the same. Okay, so that's how you calculate the mean or the average. Now let's calculate the median. Now median is actually even easier. We double click, we click equals, and then we just start typing in median. So very simply, the formula for median in Excel is just equals median. So we click median, and the same deal as before, we click our first number for the boys, drag the box down to select all of the boys, and click the green tick, and it gives us the median, which is 165. We do the same thing for the girls. We double click on the cell, equals median, select our first value, drag the box down, click the green tick, and it gives us the median for the girls as well. The next thing we calculate is the mode. So just like the median, very simply, equals mode. You have a few options, but we're just going to click the top one, equals mode. We select all of our data, click the green arrow, and it gives us the mode. Now remember, the mode is the most frequent value that appears in a set of data. So the number that appears the most times. For the boys, that number was 162 because we can see that it appears twice. Now let's do the same thing for the girls. Equals mode. We select the first value, highlight all of the data, and click the green tick. Now for the girls, we get an answer of NA. Now that's not a mistake. That is Excel telling us that there is no mode for this set of data for the girls, because there is no number that appears more than once. So all that means is that for the girls, there is no mode. Now the very last thing we need to calculate is the range. Now this might be the trickiest one to calculate because it's not just one simple formula, you do have to combine two formulas together. And the way to do that in Excel is to figure out what our largest number is, so the maximum value, and then we subtract the smallest number, or the minimum value. So the formula we use is equals max to find out what our biggest number is. So let's do the boys first. We select all of our values and click our green tick. So this 176 is the largest height for the boys. What we need to do now to calculate the range is subtract or take away the smallest number. So at the top, where it says equals max C5 to C10, we're going to click at the end and type a minus symbol, which means that we'll be subtracting another value. And the second value that we subtract is the minimum for that data, so the smallest number. So we start typing in min, M-I-N, we click on min, and then we go back to our boys and we click on that first value, 159, and you should see it turn red. This means that we're now looking at the second number. Just like before, we drag that red box down until it selects all of the data for the boys, and then we click the green tick. And if you've done that correctly, your range should change to 17, which means the difference between the biggest number, which is 176, and the smallest number, which is 159, is 17. Now we do exactly the same thing for the girls. So double click in the cell, equals max to find out what the biggest number was in your data. So we highlight the girls' data, we click the green tick, and we find out that our maximum value is 174. At the top here, we click at the end, we type a minus, and then we type in min to work out the minimum value, or the smallest number for our girls. And once again, we highlight all of our data, you'll notice it turn red, click the green tick, and we've worked out our range for the girls was 19. So that's how you calculate the mean, median, mode, and range using Excel. Now the last thing we're going to look at is how to actually show the formulas that you've used in the cells instead of just in the tab at the top. Now in this new table here, we're going to be showing the formulas that we used. So we won't have these answers that we did at the top, we're going to have the formulas instead. And the way that we show those formulas is by highlighting the cells that we're going to be typing into. And once again, we click on this ABC123 button here. What should be ticked is general, which means that it's working like it normally does, and it will automatically convert formulas into numbers. We don't want that anymore. What we want to select is just text, which means that when we type a formula into these cells, Excel won't automatically convert that formula into a number. It will leave the formula as we typed it in. So once you've selected text, you go back to your cell. Let's do exactly what we just did before. So to calculate the mean, we write equals average, click on average, let's select all of the boys, and then the green tick. And you'll notice at the bottom here now, we have equals average C5 to C10, and it hasn't converted it to the actual value. It's left the formula in exactly as we wanted. Now this stretches out across two cells, so we actually just want it to be one cell. So if we double click on C, it actually stretches that cell out so we can see the whole formula. And that's what we want to do for this next one as well. So we write equals average, and for the girls we select the first value and drag it down so we have all of those values, click the green tick once again, and we have the new formula. As we can see, it's stretching out over multiple cells, so we double click on D, and then it automatically adjusts it for you. Now all we need to do is repeat that process for the median, mode, and range, and you should have all of your formulas visible.